Welcome to The Advocator, the show that informs the community of issues that affect society as a whole. We're your hosts, Tana and Trana Bachelor, here with guest Cindy Chan, founder of Eternity's Gate, here to tell us about her company and all that goes into funeral planning. We'll be right back.
She came up and kissed me one day.
It was an impulse. I just grabbed him and I kissed him on the lips and I ran away.
Because I was like 20 years old. It's not like something you talk about marriage all the time.
But I asked for her number. She wouldn't give me her number.
No, I think he liked me first for sure, because
She's hot.
We met in a grocery store.
We were in a class together.
Came up to me one day, says, I got this perfect girl for you.
He was a good dancer, but not too good.
Like he was my soulmate.
She's my queen. Of course, I'm the king.
I said, I have to ask you something. And she said, what? And I kneeled down, and
She was laughing and trembling. She gets so embarrassed.
what did I say? I said, will you marry me or will you be my wife?
Will you be my wife?
He proposed to me on my birthday.
And she said, yes. Are you sure?
Sorry.
Welcome back to The Advocator with your host, Trana and Tana Lee Bachelor. We are joined by Cindy Chan, founder of Eternity's Gate. Cindy, so nice of you to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. I couldn't be happier to be here and representing our company and learning more about your endeavors in the community. It sounds like a great program that you do.
So tell us, let's start by you really sharing with the listening audience about your company.
Eternity's Gate is something that's unique to Buffalo. I was looking for someone who had passed, the services in the newspaper, and I didn't find anything. And I came to find out that that particular person's body had been donated to science. And it occurred to me, I wonder how many people know about that. And then when I found out, they paid $5 for the passing of a loved one, because the death certificate was $5. But when the university comes, they take the body, it's free of charge, and the entire service for someone's passing costs $5 in that case, in that state. And so I decided to expand upon that knowledge and find out how many different types of services and funerals that are available. And then I got to thinking about how lax we are when it comes to final planning. Mm-hmm. No one wants to talk about passing, whether it's their own or someone else's. No one wants to deal with those realities. And based on my research, there's days and weeks worth of work after you pass that has to happen in a compressed period of time to get the body prepared and get the service over and done with. Just your personal effects, your personal paperwork, what your plans might or might not have been, whether they've been made clear, whether there have been people designated. And there are also options that people knew nothing about. You can have your body sent into space. You can have your body liquefied and poured down the sink. Mm-hmm. You can have your body turned into precious jewelry. Mm-hmm. You can be buried in a cemetery in a green burial as opposed to the more expensive, more involved proceedings that generally take place at a cemetery. You're buried in a vault, buried in a casket. There are companies where you can make your own casket out of plywood. You can have the children in your immediate family decorate the casket with painting and stickers and things. It helps bring the family closer to the service and helps children understand and be a part of what's going on, as opposed to a lot of times where we put them in a suit and make them, or dress with crinoline. Yes. I'm from the 50s. Dress us up in crinoline and stand us in a corner as children and not really explain what's going on. So at Eternity's Gate, we look to conquer all these kinds of obstacles. The things that cost a lot of money, the things that take a lot of planning, the things that take forethought and preparation, the whimsical aspects that you can get involved in. And so the company sprung out of a a need that I felt was obvious.
So, exactly how much help can you offer a family? How involved do you become with a family?
My first goal is to organize and determine. I'm obviously not I'm a paralegal, so I can judge things, but I cannot act or perform on a great many things. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a funeral cemetery planner, and I'm not a doctor. But these are decisions that my clients have to make. You have to decide based on, say, your business endeavors. Do you have a corporation? Do you have family members that you'll be donating money to? Are you going to donate money yourself? Do you have medical issues? Are you going into hospice? Are you planning that already? Does your doctor know what your plans are? Does your family know what your plans are? So my main goal is to guide and consult. I can't tell you what the legal answers are. I can't make any financial plans or decisions for you, but I can help you gather the paperwork. I can help you make decisions that you haven't thought of prior to this because you're not in the frame of mind.
Absolutely.
So I bring the process to you. I sit and I listen to what your plans are. Then I expound by telling you what the options are, how many multiple things you can incorporate into your decisions. And then we sit and we make a plan for you, and then I leave you to gather your paperwork, and then I come and I leave you with a form so that you can fill out the form. How many boats do you own? How many cars do you own? Who's got the insurance on this? Do you already have funeral plans? Who are they with? Where is that paperwork? So I give you it's probably about 15 pages, a form that you can fill out to start gathering your thoughts and your paperwork. And then I return for a second visit, and I go through that paperwork with you, and I make plans according to what you've written in the form and what your overall alternatives and goals are. So we come up with a plan based on what you'd like and what's available and what you need. Do you need a lawyer, or can you and I do this planning? Do you need a financial planner advisor, or can you and I do this? So what are your doctor's recommendations? What is your long-term disability? What is your long-term insurance plans? How are you financing a funeral? Do you have these insurance policies in place? So these are things that we take a look at as we sit down together to bring the ideas out for you, let you make decisions, and then act on those and come up with an action plan.
When you're in the eye of a storm, it must be just overwhelming. I'd like for you to share with the listening audience some aspects of pre-planning.
I'm not an expert on pre-planning, however, and part of my service is to find you the cemetery that you want to go to and find you the funeral home that you want to deal with and consolidate your plans. But I should think that your pre-planning questions are based around, do you want a service? Do you want to avoid a service? Are you trying to save money? Are you looking to spend a great deal of money? Your pre-planning questions are very important, but they vary a great deal.
Cindy, hold that thought. We're going to get right back to that after our break. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back.
How's it going? Oh, it's a letter for Nick. Maybe she wants us to give it to her. Nick, read it, read it. Read it, 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 read it.
Yeah, I think you dropped this.
And welcome back to The Advocator. We are your hosts, Trana and Tana Lee Batchelor. We are joined by Cindy Chan, who is the founder of Eternity's Gate. She's been sharing with us a bit about pre-planning for funerals. Cindy, before we went on our break, we were talking about pre-planning. Where do we leave off exactly? If somebody really wants to kind of plan their funeral years in advance, kind of how do they go about doing that using your services?
Well, I think that the point you would get stuck on at that moment is how many people are not the slightest bit interested in pre-planning their demise early in their lives. And at one point we were discussing why a 20-year-old might be compelled to do pre-planning, make these moves. And I was using an example, if you had just graduated law school and you were just going to be traveling around the world, but your family base was here in Western New York, you might want to start the process of getting situated in a cemetery, making plans in terms of the myriad ways you can go about, whether you want a green funeral. I mean, these are things that you've got to say because your family won't be able to guess, oh, she didn't want to be in this, so she wanted an urn and she wanted it red. Obviously, none of us knows how long we're going to live, and there are, unfortunately, there are lots of 20-year-olds that wind up passing, but they still are not generally thinking of planning in advance. So we try to talk people through the process and explain to them why pre-planning is important. If you are going to be traveling, if you do have certain things that you want, certain places you want to be, certain processes that you want to take part in, then you need to start thinking about it or planning it or setting it in stone or talking to your family about it. Sometimes pre-planning can be as simple as discussing it with other people in your family, giving them an idea of what's going on in your head. But pre-planning generally waits till the end of a person's life. And it doesn't have to be the very end either. There are plenty of people who make these plans from a deathbed or from hospice. But there are plenty of people who want to save their family the grief of having to do this in 3 days. There are plenty of people who want to save their family the added expense. It's a great money saver to do this in advance. You can set up insurance policies that will pay for this upon your demise, and you never have to think about financing it again, as long as you keep the insurance policies current. There are so many different choices, and you need to research them so that you have a better idea of what you want. You need to let your family members know. You need to consult with your doctor. There are all kinds of processes, and the earlier you start, the better it is. And you'll get it at today's dollars. So if there's any doubt in your mind that funeral expenses will be going up and cemetery expenses will be going up, there's another aspect that I see when I deal with people. They don't have a clue what some of these expenses are completely blindsiding. They don't understand the nature of a charge. Sometimes the charges are not explained very well and people just get angry, but they have no choice. If they want to bury their loved one, they have to come up with the money. They had no idea that they would have to. So if you're interested in saving your family the aggravation and the grief and saving a space for them in your final plans, that they can grieve. They don't have to run around going through your scores of paperwork in your file cabinets. They don't have to make contact with your friends that are far-flung all over the country and you track down family members that you haven't spoken to in 10 years. There are so many things to consider that people don't consider and don't have time to do in the 3 days. And they'll throw all kinds of unnecessary money at a problem when they don't have to, if you just give it a little thought and allow me and Eternity's Gate to write it down on paper. Our phone number is 716-628 5664, and we'll have the email address up on the screen so that you can write it down. If you need someone to get the thought process going for you, this is a good way to get it done intelligently, and then you can plan whether you want to have a New Orleans jazz band take you out or whether you want no service whatsoever and no frills. And you can save a great deal of money. A great deal of money. You don't have to have programs. You don't have to have a $5,000 mahogany box. You don't have to have the vault in the ground. You don't have to have a casket of any kind. You can be wrapped in a shroud, or you can go the cremation route. People can scatter your ashes. This is always a big topic of debate. Well, I want them scattered over Erie County, convention center. People have plans and no one knows what they are. So I'd like to sit down with people and finalize these things. I'm not looking to make $1 million. I just want to alleviate the stress and the grief that I see families going through because nothing was discussed prior to this day, that day, your final day.
I see. Can you share with us one situation that really, really sticks in your heart in terms of if they had had your services, how much easier it would have been?
Oh, I worked as a paralegal in wills, and just about every case that comes in, I'm amazed at man's inhumanity to man. And of course, by the time you get to lawyers, it's not always pretty. So people that work in these kinds of service industries tend to see the unfortunate side of a situation. But I will tell you one of my clients that I was happy to get involved with because he had been living in his house all his life and his family had been living there prior. So their house was quite a hodgepodge of paperwork, and he was concerned that when his family returned at his demise, they wouldn't be able to find anything. So I worked with the family in organizing their house so that I could work with him in organizing his paperwork. And it's a big job. I mean, I see how big it is. I don't know if I can convey to people how big it is and how you don't want to put other people through these kinds of things if you don't have to. Exactly. And it's simple. It's not just my heart, but everyone's heart. Your family has your best interests. They've loved you for decades, and they've been there for you, and they're the only thing you have in terms of tangibility when you pass is the love of your family. This is true. So to put them through any kinds of difficulties unnecessarily seems wrong to me. And a lot of people are powerless to do anything about it, so I'd like to be able to shift the power in their favor so they can pass in peace, and their families can spend the time grieving their loss, dealing with the loved ones who are having problems, their children in the family, and not with shutting off AT&T. And there's another...
Relieving some stress. Hold that thought.
Okay,
Don't lose it.
You
Don't
see,
lose
this
it.
a thought.
I see
got
something
a
brewing
thought.
there. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
According to estimates, over 1 billion people live in appalling levels of poverty. Denied even basic standards of food, water. Nearly half of the world's population earns less than.
Welcome back to The Advocator. We have Cindy Chan with us, and we are your hosts, Tana Lee and Trana Batchelor. Cindy,
I'm here holding this thought.
Please share it. Before we left, we were talking about pre-planning, and you had a thought. Please share it with us. I'm interested.
Oh, well, what we're discussing is how we at Eternity's Gate help people sit down and make plans for their final arrangements for themselves and their families. And one of the things that people are unaware of is their afterlife on the internet. Whether you have a business or your own personal life, you have accounts, including bank accounts. We'll sit and we'll go through your accounts with AT&T and Verizon, but you also have bank accounts where you have online access. Some people have a large body of their personal work, say you're writing a book, or your business work, say you've got a laptop and you've got access to your servers at work. These things all have to be considered once you pass, closing those accounts or leaving them open. You have to make a decision. I have several people on my Facebook page that have passed that their family is maintaining their Facebook page because they miss them, and they can actually refer to the Facebook page to get a wealth of memories. And other people can obviously leave information about grieving and that kind of thing. But there are myriad accounts that you have that have to be closed or dealt with and handled. And so that's another aspect that we deal with at Eternity's Gate. Another thing that we deal with is single people. I myself am a single person, so that's why I got the idea. I have absolutely no family to handle any of my affairs. The paperwork, the actual handling or planning of the body and moving of it, getting it to which funeral home, being my executor. I have absolutely nobody to take any care. It'd have to be somebody from work who decided they would be nice to me. And that's not always a good plan. So at Eternity's Gate, we take over for a single person in the instance of their demise. We would be there as an executor. We would have all the information needed to handle the body. We would have the information to contact anybody, your friends or family who were out of town, who needed to be notified or need to come in for a service or to take care of things. We have several services that we offer to families and people in this situation, whether you're single or whether you have a whole family. When we're doing the work for you, when we sit down with you to go through your paperwork and gather your information, we're also available to do the legwork. So say you've decided you want to sit down and you want to make these plans, but you don't want to deal with an attorney, you don't want to find a finance guy who you can trust. So I have referrals for you. I have some very, very high performing, very concerned and compassionate professionals in the finance industry, in the attorneys. I don't have doctors. Generally, you have your own doctors, but I do have a cadre of professionals that I can refer you to that are high performing, that are high quality people who will have your best interest at heart and are not just farming you in to get your money and fill out some paperwork that they fill out for every person. In other words, they're caring people who you can trust based on my research and on my experience. And then, so say I have an attorney and we have to get your paperwork done, but you're infirmed or not interested in visiting attorney's offices, I'm happy to take the paperwork, follow through for you to get things done, get your signatures on it. And so it's a one-stop shop for you from the time that you want to do paperwork and get your personal affairs in order till the time you want a New Orleans jazz band or a harp player or a violin and an organ player at your service. If you want to dress everybody in costumes, or if you want to have your remains shot into space in a spaceship or attached to the coral reef in Florida to help with the biology situation. The coral reefs are fading, so they're trying to rebuild it, and you can be a part of that. There's all kinds of things from the practical to the whimsical, and that's what we do at Eternity's Gate. We try to find what it is that you like or want. I also can deal with your family for you if you have plans and you don't want to discuss it with your family because they're going to be upset with your plans. I can sit down and discuss with your daughters and your sons why their mother wants to be buried in a casket shaped like a Harley Davidson. We can do that for you, and we can smooth out the consequences that your family will put you through. So I'm here to get you through the entire process before and after your demise to the extent that we're able, that it's necessary for you and your family to have a peaceful and loving service in honor of you and the life that you led, and give them a chance to remember you and pay their respects without the minutia, without the small and aggravating little things that go with life in general and with death in particular.
That is a service that truly is needed. During the worst possible stage in one's life, it can be so helpful. Truly helpful.
And you know something, it's so sad because no one wants to die, and we know no one wants to die, but they call it heaven. They call it heaven. It's going to be great. They won't let you they won't let you go in advance of when you're ready, but once you're ready, you should be ready, emotionally, financially, spiritually, familially. I mean, children are young and they don't understand, but there are ways to explain so that they can experience the peace that we're looking to establish for a family. And it's not that hard, but it does take a certain amount of resolve on your own individual part to make it smooth for yourself and easy for your family. And if you love people, it's the least you can do for them.
Absolutely. I say often, and I've seen it time and time again, that those that you love the most, you can create a living hell for them by not taking care of those things that could be handled by you.
That's so true. Now, how can people get a hold of you to access your services?
Okay, my business number, my cell phone number, my business number is 716-628-5664. And my email address, hopefully we're putting it on the screen, it's eternities_gate@AOL.com. So that's eternities_gate@AOL, no apostrophe. And then 628-5664. We have a great many services that we can help you with. I have a list here. These are the things that you would be thinking about: your insurance, your legal, your health and hospice, your finance, your funerals, your family, your representatives, and your digital afterlife. And then I have a section on cremation because there's a great deal of information about that.
Thank you so
So
much.
yeah, we try to handle that for everybody, and we're happy to help anybody who is interested in getting that taken care of.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for watching the